I just had to do that. Okay, so we're going to reconvene the open session at 6:01. There were no actions taken in closed session. So we'll do attendance roll call. President Maxfield is absent. Trustee Lopez? Here. Trustee Reed? Here. Trustee Galindo? Here. Trustee Elfishton here. If everybody could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any changes on the agenda? Perfect. So I need a motion to approve and adopt the agenda. So moved. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Great. Our district mission statement. We are a collaborative, culturally rich, educational community where rigorous and innovative curriculum prepares our students to be successful contributors to our global society. Did everybody turn in cards to Paula who wanted to speak? Yeah? So public business from the floor are on non-agenda items. This portion of the agenda allows the individual the opportunity to address the board on any item regarding board business that's not on the agenda. Without taking action or entering into a dialogue with the public, board members may briefly respond to statements made or ask clarifying questions about topics posed by the public. Your matter may be referred to administration. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. So Brian, come on up.
Brian Fenton, a Calistoga parent. I'm here to talk about the swim team. Back in 2009, after decades of fundraising, we got a community pool, and it was really great. And we've taken our kids there so many times. A couple years, and initially, when that pool started, there was a group of kids here, teenagers, and they were recruited as the first lifeguards. So when the pool opened, we got lifeguards here, and that led to a swim team at the high school, and that kind of was feeding itself. A few years later, with some staff changes, I think there was a little less enthusiasm, whatever was going on, there was a little difficulty getting some lifeguards, and I don't know what the status exactly of the swim team here was, but the rec department had its own summer swim club, we called it, and we had someone really dynamic who started that up, and it was a lot of fun for the kids, and each year, we did 3 years in a row, we had a little competition in swimming with Hidden Valley. They had also a little small swim club. It was a lot of fun. So this year, the program was a little different. They decided to work with Waves down in St. Helena, and that does the adults and kids in all age groups, younger than high school, etc. And it was really great because there were 20 kids signed up. At the end of July, we went to a big swim meet, and when I say big, there's I think there's about 250 kids swimming. There were, over the course of 2 days, there were 120 different events because of age groups and boys and girls. So there were at least 250 races. And so our kids got to compete in that. And this was a real one. This is where there's a dozen judges out there with their white polo shirts and their white deck shoes. So it was official. There were kids there trying to get their times, from the bigger schools or other places. They get their times to compete in other ones. Out of that swim group, we have 5 incoming 9th graders, and they were looking forward to the swim team. So this spring, it's not now, but one of them was informed that the swim team has been canceled or eliminated, and it was due to, and as we found out, it's due to lack of participation. Last year, we heard rumor that they were having trouble recruiting swimmers at the school, and by the time we contacted David Kumamoto, I'll just read his response. It was to Hollis and my wife. She had emailed him. He said, Hollis, thanks for the email. Last week we visited some of the classrooms for swim signups, and we now have almost 30 swimmers. If all of them commit to the swim team, we will be well off. And we kind of started this, and he says, I like your suggestion about recruiting junior high students. I was thinking, well, we could get them in earlier, it would be good, but he later found out that's not allowable. So, in the meantime, I don't know if the district was looking to cut some funding, but they looked at the cost of the community pool, use of that, and then they checked out down in St. Helena and found it would be cheaper actually to bus the kids down there. Once the kids found out about this, all but I think 4 of them, only 4 of them signed up because they did not want to spend the extra 35 to 40 minutes being bused to and from St. Helena, and it's kind of weird going to another school for that. But that was the reason given that the program was cut because of lack of participation. And I know, like I said, you got at least 5 kids who are decent swimmers, and just like you to think about that if there's any reconsideration. I think it also involved a part-time staff person, a coaching position that apparently was also cut for cross country. I'm not sure if that was the same one. That's if I'm reading that correctly. But just please keep this in mind, and if there's anything anybody can do, you know, there is the Calistoga Community Pool Project, which still has money in its funds. They're the ones that actually sponsor having the elementary school classes go and use the community pool for swim lessons every year. I don't know if there's money available there that would help, or if there's any other resources, but if you just be thinking about that, you can get 5 new swimmers every year, you got a full team. That's, you know, 20 kids as a team.
I'm curious, Brian, you probably know better than me, but I think the reason that swim lessons always work is that we shoulder in on the summer season. And that part of the reason that we couldn't do it was because it was so cost prohibitive of the school to open that much earlier just for the swim team. So perhaps maybe with our increased good relations with the city, we might be able to come up with.
Yeah, I agree. The number that I heard, and I asked, and it was a different number. So could you find out what exactly the cost is? Because I too heard it was 21 athletes that wanted to participate, and still said that was so that's something I'd like to see.
Yeah, I was going to check with the city myself to find out, because I've heard $1,000 a week was one figure I heard, another was $30,000, which sounded a little high. Then someone else told me
It was
also.
pretty high, and you remember when we had Olivia, she was so great. She did so much fundraising to get the pool open so much earlier, and that helped the school a lot. But it was cost prohibitive just to have the pool open just for the school. But obviously, we have the pool, it would be nice if we.
Right, and if the pool is being heated early, and they could get, you know, the aqua zumba or other things, the aqua aerobics, lab swimming, if they could open it up another couple hours and you get some more funding from membership there. I don't know. Maybe there's got to be other opportunities to get that working. Yeah, it starts like in February for swimming. And it's still cold and rainy. So I understand that, but just think about that. We can all work together to try to find something that might help out there. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Anybody else wanting to come up and? Okay. All right. So we will move on to 11.0 awards, recognition, information, discussion items. So I will turn it over to Gemma for the River Lake. Well, Chris.
I'll go ahead
Chris.
and talk on that.
Oh, I'm sorry,
If
Chris.
I'm not talking loud
It was you,
enough,
I'm sorry.
if I'm not talking loud enough, just let me know. I'll grab a microphone. I was hoping there'd be more elementary school parents here, but as you can see, we weren't able to get started on the Riverbank project. I think we ran into a whole lot more hurdles than we expected. Just a quick kind of summary of where we're up against. We had to basically deal with 5 agencies, all the way from the federal government to the local agencies of the city of Calistoga. The first agency that we dealt with starting in February was the NRCS, the Natural Resources Conservation Service. After looking at different avenues for possible subsidy on the repair or even full emergency bank repair costs, the NRCS had the best option for us, which was a 75% reimbursement on the cost of the Riverbank project. So we had, like I said, started working with them in February. And initially going into the project, our thought was that the permitting was going to be the worst part. A lot of you are familiar with the Berry Street Bridge. They've been working on getting that going for a long time. And a lot of what held them up was working in the river. We do all kinds of work on buildings and on regular ground. It's not a big deal, but once you get into the river, then it's a whole different animal. So anyway, we got a lot of upfront information from the NRCS, a lot of their requirements, a lot of the stuff we're going to need to put together for them. So fast forward to June, we're going into June with all of our paperwork into the NRCS. It's at Washington right now, at that point, getting approved, and they're typing up the contract for us to sign. In the meantime, our design team, ESA, is working on the strategy for getting the permits. So it's not just one permit, there's 4 agencies we have a permit with. We've got the main agency that we went through was the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Then secondly is the Water Quality Control Board. The third one is the the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And then the fourth one, which wasn't too bad, but the City of Calistoga, they were very helpful with us. They didn't hold us up at all. So really the 3 main permitting agencies is what we had the biggest concern with. We first approached them with an emergency repair, which would keep us from having to go through the 12 to 14 month process of permitting the repair like the city had to do with the Berry Street Bridge. The problem with the emergency permitting is they give you, since they've considered emergency, you've got a short window to do the repair. So we're just waiting to approach those agencies once we have the NRCS contracts. We can't start anything until the NRCS approves our funding and approves the project. So the NRCS finally got us a contract to sign, so we went through it, reviewed it, signed it, sent it back. I think this was probably late June by the time we got that all squared away. As soon as we sent the contract, ESA went in for the permitting, for the permit process. And they went in, like I said, as an emergency type of repair, which would be a quick repair. Unfortunately, none of the agencies thought that our situation was an emergency. As much as we thought it was, they didn't see it as an emergency. However, they were willing to find another path for us, which they did. And that held us up till about the middle, towards the end of July. We finally had all 3 agencies on board with our project. Unfortunately, at that point, the NRCS, I don't know if any of you have to go for federal funding, they don't make it super easy for you. They came back with 2 requirements that were detrimental to the project timeline getting started. The first one was they wanted to do a full review of the design plan, the operation plan, and the maintenance plan. So what that means is that we have the design for how we're going to repair it. And we have the operation plan for how we're going to mitigate damage to any habitats or anything like that. So stuff like, it was possible that we were going to have somebody from the local tribe there for excavation to make sure we didn't disturb anything or come across anything. Geologists to sit in the river and make sure that, to check to make sure there wasn't any, what we have is freshwater shrimp in the water, and it's not that much of a stretch, but unfortunately, the stretch we own has those in it. So we also were told that the person reviewing them wouldn't be back on vacation until August 3rd. So all the paperwork was turned in. They're reviewing it right now. We should have a notice to proceed from the NRCS by the end of the week. Unfortunately, we still can't get started even with a notice to proceed. We still have to do a pre-construction meeting with the NRCS, and we'll do that next week. So we really wanted to have it done, and we're just as disappointed as everybody else. But when you're dealing with federal agencies, you don't have much pull with them. So. Does anybody have any questions on that situation?
It's just be nice if we could get it going before it starts raining again.
We have to. That was another thing that was brought up to all agencies, is that if we let this go and we come across another rain season, it's only gonna, it's just gonna, then we're gonna have even more trouble because that starts to move in there. So we're trying to protect the species that's there and we need to move on.
Thank you. Okay, Nicole is not here, so she presented her report. we'll skip on to Craig and the principal.
Thank you. First of all, I want to introduce our new vice principal, Monica Baldonegro. And Monica, Monica has already met most of the students in the school and is working her way through all the classrooms. We're really excited to have Monica here. She comes with quite a few years of experience as a vice principal in San Jose schools. Before that, she was a teacher and taught English and also EL support classes for learners. So she brings that wealth of knowledge too. But she's also just all around great about everything. So we're just really happy to have her. So thank you for joining our Cal-State walkout. Just a couple things. Our first couple days went really well, and we're excited about that. In your board report isn't this information, but we have a new course. It's our distance learning class, and our students the first few days signed up for their new courses. This class is being funded by NAPA Learns, and it's with that funding they bought a whole brand new Chrome card and 33 new Chromebooks, and all the site licenses for this class. So I just want to briefly go over really quickly the courses some of the kids have signed up for. Because we're so small, this opportunity is going to be fantastic because they can take the courses that we don't offer. So California Principles of Hospitality and Tourism, 2 semesters. California Entrepreneurship, California Principles of Engineering and Technology, California Principles of Business, Marketing and Finance, Theater, Cinema and Film Production. These are all different students. Game Development, California Health Science, California Computer Programming, Plato Course Introduction to Forensic Science. That was a very popular one. They're all going to be CSI agents, who knows. California Health Science, Principles of Business, Marketing and Finance, Psychology, Graphic Design and Illustration, Astronomy, and the rest were readings. So those are the courses that kids have signed up for, which is exciting because we can't offer this, and now they have this opportunity. It's a great class.
So is that a period that they all go to and sit in front of their screens?
Right, and so we've encouraged them to take classes if they feel that a course might be they need support with, is to team up with 1 or 2 other students in the class. And, so forensic is one that there's multiple students. Graphic design, there's multiple students. In health science, there's multiple students. They'll be working together on that class. But yes, they'll be working off the computer system.
And then is there one teacher in charge of that?
One teacher in charge, Ms. Heck is our teacher in charge. And she'll be monitoring them as we go along. Help where she can, but also monitoring the progress. Thank you.
And then to Erin, superintendent's report.
I also thought that the first 2 days of school went extremely well, and credit for that success goes to both the teachers and the support staff who spent many, many hours working with their students. I also could not have been more impressed than I was with our students when I visited the classrooms. They were respectful, they were attentive, and they all seemed happy to be there as well. I'm also appreciative of the assistance from the Cal-State Police Department. They provided great traffic control on the first day of school, and that should be something as well. We were a little unsure because of the bridge construction, how things would go, but I thought it went remarkably smooth considering all of the conversion. Some of the city's employees, as I was walking from the high school down to the elementary school, they also were stepping in to assist with traffic. So it was really a community effort and an amazing display of community effort on our kids. I am now a third of the way to my 90-day plan, so I've been here an entire month, and I learned more each day about the district, the culture, the programs, and the processes. I've had conversations with approximately 40 individuals in both the district and the community. And now that school has begun, I will turn my attention towards meeting with our staff and parents. They were obviously not always available during the summer, so Paula is going to start scheduling that this week. I sent out an email actually to staff shortly. And then just as a reminder, the Valley's Family Center's Welcome Back to School celebration is on August 25th. My friends and wonderful celebration. I'm anxious to attend my first one. And I asked Jenny to give an update on the latest insurance that she has on.
So last Tuesday, Aaron and I had our pre-pricing call. And that included the underwriters as well as our financial advisors. There was a pretty large group of us on the call. At that point, one of the things we discussed is market conditions and what it's looking like. And they have an analyst that specializes in that and watches the market. So the feedback we received at that point was the market was looking good. However, one of the potential impacts to the market was the concern with North Korea and those tensions. So the next day, so on the 9th, is when actually our bonds went to market. At that point, probably by afternoon, we reconvened for a phone call and talked about what the results were. The market was good. I think the results were indicative of a little bit of concern maybe with the tensions with North Korea, but if you look at other school districts that had gone out for bonds and around the same time period, it was good. We were comfortable. We felt that what we had in front of us was a good option for the district, and so the rest of that process should be done by the end of this month.
All right, so moving to 12.0, the consent calendar. Actions proposed for the consent agenda are deemed routine in nature and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no specific discussion of these items unless any member of the board, audience, or staff requests specific items to be removed from the consent agenda for such action. So at this point, I just ask if anybody is interested in having any of these items removed.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you have facing two loud bridges.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm contributing,
So-
and I can't hear.
So we're going over the consent agenda, which is all in one motion. So I just asked if anybody had any items they wanted removed.
Right, I was just going to ask everyone to sort of project one more and have a competition, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda, the consent calendar.
Motion to approve. Consent calendar.
And all in favor? Opposed? Great, roll call vote. Trustee Baxter is absent. Trustee Lopez? Trustee Reed? And Trustee Gallardo? And so- Great, so 13.0 are our action items. So protocol for action items includes a staff presentation, questions from the board, any public input, deliberation by the board, and voting by the board during public input. There will be a 3-minute time limit per person. So 13.1, I'll have to remind myself next time to bring my reading glasses. 13.1 is curriculum adoption, consumer personal mathematics text revised. So we can read about that. I don't know, do you want to talk a little bit about how we...
Actually, Principal Wyckoff is going to
Okay.
talk about it.
Thank you very much. So our consumer personal finance mathematics teacher, Mr. Grove, had decided on a book, and so it was brought to the board. No book was purchased, and in the meantime, the book he had requested from a publisher arrived. He felt it was far better, so he is asking for us to maybe adopt this one, because it's a much better book than the one he originally brought. So we apologize for that, I apologize.
No problem. I know that we got something better. So we had already approved the prior curriculum, and now we're just replacing that and approving this one. So the recommendation is to adopt the new curriculum. So I'm looking for a motion. Great, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, 13.2 is facilities use fee schedule. Our facility use fee schedule was updated to reflect current cost of operations in addition to refining district practices regarding facilities use requests. So thanks to Aaron, we have gone through and looked at our facility use agreement for when public wants to come and use the school facilities. And do you want to say anything more about that?
Actually, it's thanks to Jenna.
Okay, Jenna.
So she's going to give a presentation on
Perfect.
this.
So the Civic Center Act is essentially what prescribes the calculations and the methods that we have to use to determine the fees we charge for using our facilities. So that was first determined by the legislature, then the State Board of Education adopts those guidelines, and then of course we have a board policy that's in alignment with that as well. So here is a list, this is consistent with our policy, of just some of the user groups based on category. The first category, we usually don't charge any fees. The only time, which we haven't really seen happen, is if the staff time out of the normal hours or overtime would be required, but we haven't really seen that happen in that case. The other two categories, we do charge fees, but they're charged a little bit differently. So I'll go over that really quickly. So category 2, we charge direct operational costs, is what they're referred to. In category 3, we are charging direct operational and capital costs. So before I go into that, this is a big part of the calculation, and we're basically required to determine the proportionate share that outside users might use of our facilities. So we take our annual estimated outside use and then divide that by total use, by district and outside, and that gives us a proportionate percentage that we can use to determine the fee. So for our direct operational costs, our category 2, I won't go through everything in detail, but this is a list of basically what we use to calculate those costs. So that is essentially maintenance and operations. So everything that it takes to maintain and operate our facilities, and that includes utilities, supplies, and staff salary and benefits of that group. We don't charge a prorated annual salary for time spent administering the fees. So here's a capital cost calculation. I just want to show you an example. And so the capital cost portion, we also charge that in addition to the operational cost, our category 3. And so that basically is the expected cost to repair, restore, or refurbish the facilities at the end of their useful life. So that's part of the calculation. So this is just an example, but if you say we have a facility that we estimate it's going to cost $500,000 to replace, restore, refurbish, whatever it may be, and we determine the useful life is 30 years, which is a pretty standard assumption. The proportionate share we have already calculated is 20%, and we estimate that outside users are going to use it about 90 hours for the year. So we take that total, divide it by the useful life, right? So we come up with that 16,000, multiply that by the percentage of proportionate use, and that gives us a total of the 3,300, and then divide that by the 90 hours, and that's how we get an hourly rate. So this calculation is pretty much the same for operational costs, you just don't have the factor of useful life in there. And it's a pretty extensive calculation, and Chris and I work together on kind of breaking down costs and what we would estimate those costs to be. And then also for each year you have a better idea of how to track your time better, especially by outside users and internal. So it'd be something that we visit.
Jenna, will this fee schedule be updated every year? How does that work?
The policy allows you to choose to as a board, you don't have to, but it does say may.
I would say, to me, because this is our first year, I think we're going to have better data on outside use and probably benefit everyone if we analyze where we are in here.
Any other questions from the audience?
In addition to this fee, there are requirements for such as certificate of insurance.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So it's available
Yeah. So we have the same requirements. Everyone has a contract that we require, and we require them to provide the proper insurance certificate. And then, of course, if there's additional staff time, it's overtime, that's additional cost. But yeah, same process, yeah.
Okay. So the recommendation is that we approve the revised facility use fee schedule, so I'm just looking for a motion. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Perfect. Okay, moving on to 13.3, the 2017-18 California School Employees Association initial proposal. The board acknowledges receipt of the proposed contract articles submitted by the Calistoga Joint Unified School District by the California School Employees Association.
The recommendation is just to receive and sanction.
Perfect. So I'm looking for a motion that we... All right, all in favor? And opposed? Okay, 13.4 is contract with Comcast Business Services. The district would like to change from our current internet provider to Comcast Business Services.
So this is specific to Palisades High School. The connection we were using proved to be just inconsistent, and as you know, with our curriculum being primarily on the internet and Chromebooks, it wasn't working. So we wanted to get this implemented as soon as we could, just right before students came. I think we finally got it accomplished. But this should be much more reliable. It'll be subject to E-rate, just like our other services.
So I'm looking for a motion that we approve the contract with Comcast Business Services for... Okay. Mark, approved, and second? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Perfect. Okay, 13.5, agreement with Fagan, Friedman, and Holdcross, LLP. The district will be hosting a governance team workshop for the board facilitated by this group. Want to talk about that?
I do. This specific workshop would focus on the board superintendent relations. It is a workshop that we open to the public. It's a half-day workshop, and so Paul will work with you as a team to figure out a date that will work for all of you. And we would be posting that to the public as well.
Good. Development for the board is always good. All right. So we're looking for a motion to approve the contract. Okay. And all in favor? Opposed? Perfect. And then moving on to 14.0 board calendar. So we have, our next board meeting will be Monday, September 11th. That's a mistake, right? So, when is it going to be?
Oh, no, you're right. I'm
Is that
sorry.
right?
It is right.
That's right? Okay. So Monday, September 11th?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. And then following Monday in October 9th. So no changes there. And then 15.0 upcoming events and activities. Wednesday, August 23rd is the junior senior high school back to school night. And I'm assuming we'll get all that information on time and everything. And then Thursday, August 24th is the following day. We have the elementary school back to school in 6 p.m. starting in the classrooms. 16.0 tentative future agenda items. We'll be looking at student representative induction. We have interested parties, Craig? Student representative for the board.
You do.
Awesome.
They're voting with an ASB.
Perfect. And then sufficiency of instructional materials is a yearly thing that we do every year. There is no need to reconvene to closed session, and I'm just looking for that favorite motion. No motion to adjourn. Perfect. All right.